Hey guys, we are back. We are trying to finish off the interview with J. Cole and Nadeska. This one was something that I started on earlier, but we never got to finish it. So we're about to get back into it right now, finish it up. And I think we were right here. Let's bring it back a little bit more.
Like, all right, I probably had to fall off out by like 2019, you know what I mean? Or 2020. At all points, I always thought it was right around the corner. But, just the creative process, like I had a high bar of like where I was trying to get to personally on a skill level wise and like songwriting wise. And it just so happened that while I was chasing that bar, other stuff was coming out that had I ignored them, I feel like I'd be in a position where you didn't hear from me for the past 10 years. You know what I mean? Like where it's just I just got so in my head because it wasn't the fall off yet. Where I was just so I'm glad I got those out. And I don't want to disrespect none of them projects because I love them projects. Like I wouldn't have put them out if I didn't believe that they were like that they were great and that they were the best version of what they were supposed to be. You know what I mean? But even when I was putting those together, the North Star was always trying to get to this point.
And when did the concept of the album start to take shape? So, right, of course, we have this one where you're coming home at 29, and I couldn't tell in the timeline if at this point Forest Hills Drive was already out or it was just at least recorded.
Yeah,
So you see, I like Nadeska's questions because she seems like she's a real fan. So she already kind of came there prepared, because sometimes when artists come to these interviews, people are looking to ask more controversial questions versus about their creative process or what they were thinking about when they were creating the music. I mean, people forget that they are artists. That's what they are in this industry for, because they have a talent in their, what I'm saying? That's what they do. And I think that, J. Cole is answering these questions pretty good. And but Nadeska's doing a great job.
It's really like up for interpretation. In my mind, I go back and forth with that. I'm like, it's just the point before I was married. That's how I gauge it. It's like, whether it's you can look at it from Forest Hill Drive and it's like I'm back and I'm on top of the world, or you can look at it around that era when I was just still successful off Born Center. It's a time when I'm at a crossroads in my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was at a crossroads in my life. During the making of Forest Hill Drive, because Forest Hill Drive is like, it's a bigger story. It's a more like Wet Dreams. At 03 Adolescent, January 28th. I almost see that like a long distance story from like birth to wherever I was at that time. Disc 29 is more like a hyper focused, more detailed story of like, this specific trip that where I maybe got my shit together or got closer to getting my shit together because I was at a crossroads in my life and I had to really figure out like, all right, which way you gonna go? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna go left? Are you gonna go right? Like, are you gonna? So I don't necessarily know that. If I had to lean anyway, I'd probably go after Forest Hill Drive, but it's all interpreted. It's not like a literal movie.
Yeah, I was just wondering because, as you were saying, Forest Hills Drive would have been definitely one of the peaks in your career, and not just outwardly, but for you, like Jermaine the person.
Yeah.
What's crazy is I listen to Jermaine Cole's albums. You know what I mean? Can I say I'm like the biggest fan? No, but I am an extreme fan of him. What I mean by that is, whenever he drops an album or something like that, I'll listen to it. Do I consistently run back his albums a lot? Not all the time, but I mean, lately I've been catching myself go back to his prior albums, but there are times to where I wasn't really on J. Cole a little bit too much, but the past few years, man, he's impressed me a lot. When it comes, because he was on features for the past couple of years, just slaughtering, stuff, man. I think he had one I liked with Jordan Lucas. He had one with a little baby. He had one with Da Baby. He had he had one with like some Asian people from overseas. You know what I mean? Like the man was going ballistic. It's like that run that he was doing had led me to believe like that. Okay, cool. He's up there. You know what I'm saying? Because he started doing a lot of tracks with a lot of MCs that I highly respected. You know, like especially I think he did one with Royce da 5'9". Uh, he had one with Trader Truth. He had some joints. You know what I mean? But it was just that like he had some albums to me that were lacking features. You know, and I know sometimes I think he had one album he just didn't do no features, but I think sometimes people look at features the wrong way. You know what I mean? I like to see steel sharpen steel. That's why I like the features. You know what I mean? I think that a collaborative effort on a track always makes it better anyway. You know what I mean? You can do just solo or whatever, but music is music. You know what I mean? And we love to see our favorite artists go back and forth with other artists to see who lands probably the better punches, the better punchlines, the better metaphors. You know what I'm saying? It's a competition, and we like to see that.
But it also seems, if we follow the track list on disc one, that it was also maybe some of the lowest moments for you in terms of this relationship you have with Fayetteville, right? I believe it's like on Run a Train, there is a line where you say something like, you know, Phenom, you're in my heart, but I can start to feel the flame dying. Yeah. And for Cole fans, like we have been hearing you talk about Fayetteville, like Villmatic, like everything for so long that actually hearing that line really hit me.
Nah, that's real. That's real. You want me to talk about that line?
Yeah, because I mean, it comes to, I would say, once we get to disc two, it ends on a more positive note, some closure. Yeah. But I was a little bit surprised to hear that.
Nah, for sure. Because at that time, and whether that be after Forest Hills Drive or whether that be before, it's like it doesn't even matter because the point is the emotion. It was a real emotion. Where there was a time where, first of all, when I went away to school, when I left Fayetteville and went to New York, I loved coming home. Like it was one of the, of course I love New York. It was amazing to be up there, but like I really looked forward to getting back home and I was missing home. So any type of 3-day weekend we had, like in school, it was like, I'm driving home. I couldn't wait to come home. And just to party at the same parties I was going to, but I didn't want to miss nothing. I wanted to at least be home. And that lasted throughout my 20s, really. Like, especially when we first, like, you know, then I'm in college, we coming back, then I got a deal. We coming back and it's more lit in a different level, you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm back in Fayetteville and it's like, yo, we got action and activity and it's like the love is different. But there was a point where I started coming back home and it felt different to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't, you know, of course it's all internal or whatever, but it just wasn't feeling the same. I wasn't having the same, it was heavy when I was coming back home. It was like a burden. Whether imaginary or real, was like a burden that I felt and a heaviness and almost a darkness. And like, whether it's in the form of like bad news, violence, it also was a time when the shit was getting really, really bad. You know what I mean? Like everything you hear is like, yo, this shit worse now. It's dangerous now. And it was like, you know, very sad stories coming out of the city. On top of that, there would be like, you know, at the time, this was important to me, but it was like, you would hear such and such said such and such about you. Yo, you ain't hear, why, dude? Why is, you know what I mean? Like these situations of people around the city that has something to say about me. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like, at that time, it felt like.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, you know, coming back home, I mean, you know, you would think that when you from somewhere and you become big, that a lot of people are going to support that, you know what I mean? But it seems like the people from your city or the people, you know, and I don't know if this just is something that happens in hip hop, you know what I mean? Because I know that there's always going to be haters, whatever genre you in. But as a hip hop artist, man, it's like I feel like they deal with that the most. You know what I mean? You come back home and it's a darkness. I mean, most rappers die in the place where they're from. You know, there were some artists that that passed away a few years back, or that I admired, and I'm just upset that they didn't really get the chance to kind of thrive the way that I felt like they should have. You know what I'm saying? You think about the Triple X's, you think about, of course, you know, you think about Southern people. Who was it? Adobe was an ill rapper. You had Mo 3, you had like, you know, it's a lot of, I mean, the fact that I can name that just 3, you know, just artists who were major in hip hop it's a problem. Because I can't name you that many rock stars or any pop stars or whatever who are passing away like that because they went home. You know what I mean? Or murdered at that. You know, the Nipsey Hussles and all of that. You know what I mean? But yeah, but I feel J. Cole on this one. You know what I mean? He probably, you know, had a dark cloud over because a lot of people at one point in time I thought that he was from New York. I didn't even know he was from Carolina until like later on in his career, to be honest. Especially after he got signed by Jay-Z. I felt like Jay-Z wouldn't sign anybody unless they were from like New York or something, you know?
Man, fuck. Like,
until we get the energy on Poor Thing. It's the sequencing on that is okay. So let me gather my thoughts here. It's so interesting, like you said, it's this like hyper focused time because on Safety there's the setup, right? There's that friend writing you from home, right, giving you all of the news, and then towards the end he sets up like, yo, why is this guy making songs about you or whatever, which then leads us into Poor Thing, and then you also have a reference to drum and bass, which I didn't really catch till like recently, the more I listened to the album, which sets up as we go into that song. So even as you're on drum and bass and you're having this amazing time out, like the nostalgia, then things start to turn left. So like the story, like
for sure,
if you pay attention, really like you kind of feel the emotions that you were going through at the time.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. So those were the emotions. Like the emotion of you hearing somebody talking about you, and I'm not outwardly like said what? You know what I mean? But internally, it's like, first of all, nigga, I don't even fucking know you. You know what I mean? And mind you, that's not the specific Poor Thing story, because to me, Poor Thing, mad people hit me like, yo, who you talking about in the third verse of Poor Thing? It's like, bro, that's not even really important. What's important is the emotion that I'm giving you. Really, if you really want to know the truth, I combine a bunch of niggas into that last verse, the punk bitch, to give you the emotion that I feel, and that probably a bunch of people feel when you hear somebody say something about you. You're like, it's an instant triggering feeling, and like, you know, I'm not the hardest nigga in the world, far from it, but I'm still a human, and I'm still born and bred in this place where pride is like how you survive, damn near. You know what I mean? Like, you have to carry a sense of like defensiveness and pride just to like make it through the day, maybe unscathed. You know what I mean?
But even if you carry that in your person, like when you're in Fayetteville, as a fan, I feel like that's the first time I really heard you dial it up like that on a record. Like that was one of my favorite songs, because I was like, oh, okay, Jermaine, this is like a different side. You know, that energy is not something we've gotten from you before.
Yeah, that was a good song, man. Like, punk bitch. Yeah, that song, I like that song. He was actually, and I knew that he really wasn't targeting one specific person, but yeah, I mean, everybody feels like that sometimes, man. You feel like sometimes man, you gotta release, man, let that feeling go, you know. And he did that on that song.
But that's just me trying to give you a glimpse of like how I feel. Like that side does exist now. Like, and one at 29, it definitely existed more than it did now. But even at 29, I knew what I know now, which is like, yeah, I might feel like this, and my gut feeling might be like in the moment hearing that, it's like, man, I wish I could see that nigga right now. And like, let him say what he just told you in front of my face. Cause one, he know he lying. He don't, you know what I mean? And two, he know he not like that. This is my gut initial instinct, right? And then there's a part that goes, it's not that serious. Let him. You know, let him. It's cool. Like, let him. Even if he's saying something about you that's untrue, like, let him. Even if he's saying something about you that's true, let him. You know what I mean? Like, there's a adult in the room that comes and says like, yo, your initial instinct is not worth it. You know what I mean? Because your initial instinct could lead to a movie that you've seen so many times.
Right.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, just on a spiritual level, it's like, yo, what's that gonna do? Like, so I'm ramping it up on that verse to just give you insight. Yeah, you never really got that from me, but it's like, just to give you insight into like, yo, that's how it feels. And I know people feel that and can relate to that. Cause it's like, yo, that's, you know, for better or for worse, that's a knee-jerk reaction to disrespect. You know what I mean? It's like it's a defensiveness.
Unwarranted disrespect. You know, I think you pointed out, like, look, when I was broke and struggling and trying to piece it together, like I was on my own figuring that out, you know? So for you to then come at me now when I'm doing like something good for myself. It's understandable.
Yeah, and even as you say that, I'm like so many instances pop in my mind, you know, from back then and even up until recently, where it's like, bro, like, you know what I mean? But the version of me now, the older me, actually knows more than what I knew back then. Because now I'm like, bro, you gotta forgive them because look what's happening. Like they going through something. You know what I mean? Like they going through something. Like you don't know what type of pain and like broken dreams and desperation and like sadness is fueling whatever lie or whatever like criticism or whatever. Like you don't know. It's like I try to put myself in people's shoes at this age that got something to say about me. Where I'm like, bro, like I get it. I hope that if I was in that same situation as you, I wouldn't make that decision. But I can't really judge you for being in that situation and maybe making the weaker choice. Because life is hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to like always take the higher road. Sometimes people just fuck it. They just crash out.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. I mean, it's been times where I've been like that, man. And it's like, you know, when you do stuff for people, man, or you just a good person and people have the audacity to say something about you, it's disturbing. And, you know, and then people love gossip. You know what I mean? Somebody can just be lying about you to the point to where it's a complete lie. And it's like, and it's hard to deal with seeing those people after you'd heard those rumors. You know, it's like you really be wanting to crash out for real, you know, and it takes everything. Like if I didn't go to therapy, if I didn't like read certain self-help books and self-help books and, you know, and certain things, man, like I would have been lost it, you know? And, you know, unfortunately, over the years, like, you know, with me, you know, I unfortunately have cancer. I got diagnosed with cancer a few years back. And, you know, and it's like, even with that, man, it's like you start seeing who really is there for you, who really love you and who really, you know, has, you know, issues with you. You know what I mean? It's like you would think that certain people would be there. You would think that you would get more, but it is what it is, man.
You know what I mean? And it's like, all right, bro, like if I got to be the one you crash out on, all right, it's cool. I can handle that and process that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
Have you ever read The Four Agreements?
No, that's one of the books that's like been laying around and people around me that I love have read it and I've picked it up to read it. Well, people would tell me like, you seem like you read The Four Agreements.
Yeah, because don't take it personal.
No, I appreciate it.
That helps so much because like you said, when you get triggered, you get upset, you internalize all of that. But then when you try to reframe it, I'm not saying it works every time.
Right.
But, you know, like, that's about you. That actually has nothing to do with me, the way that you're reacting. And although you're talking about, you know, people in your hometown on that song, just in a wider lens, you've had to deal with that a lot in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, you talk about coming up and being this first generation of artists, like growing up inside social media and always having to deal with people picking you apart, right? That can really, really get in your head. Like, at what point do you feel like you got a handle on blocking that out as well?
Forest Hill Drive was my first great time of like escaping that. First step is like, yo, just, you know, I had a rule when I was working on that album, which is like, yo, you can't go on social media. That was a life-saving rule, you know what I mean? And this next was like, yo, everything you make it for you. Like don't, because there was a dark period where it was like, yo, that first album period, you know, I'm picking my snare drums. Is this a hit snare drum? I'm writing my lines. Like, is this line gonna work in a club or at a show? It's like, it was the worst. So I had a rule: no social media and no. And when you make it, it's got to be from a pure place. So that was the first time I got it right. So I've delicately balance that and maintain that. There's been times in the past few years where it's like I might lean back and like poke my head more, and every time it feels disgusting. Like it feels nasty. It's like, oh God, like I hate how I feel right now. Just even reading 3 minutes of that. You know what I mean? So like I just kind of stay away. The only thing is my most used app is YouTube. So like they've turned YouTube into, oh, no disrespect to y'all, you know, outside of.
This will be on YouTube, don't worry.
All right, cool. But you know, the only thing is they turn YouTube kind of into like a social media feed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I love to watch a good video on YouTube. You know what I mean? But the way they got you scrolling, you can't escape passing some bullshit that just wants to like call you like some clickbait. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, even today it's like, yo, I do a pretty good job of like ignoring that stuff, which keeps me in like a good place. But I do notice anytime I like bite or can't resist the urge to like just click that thing, it's like, oh God, shit
You
feels
always
terrible.
regret it every single
Yes.
time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. I mean, you know, I've been trying to change my algorithm for years. You know what I mean? Like, and it seems like, you know, YouTube and a lot of these apps, man, they're just showing you stuff that you ain't even asking to be seen. You know what I mean? You ain't asking to be shown. And I feel them, man. Like sometimes you got to detox from social media. You have to get to the point to where like, okay, cool. You know, I got back into painting. I do video editing. I draw. I make music. I do a lot of stuff when it comes to just being an artist in general. But I have to do that to get away from other things. You know what I mean? Like you got to have different outlets outside of social media, whether it's reading, whether it's, you know, working out, whatever. You know what I mean? But and then like don't don't get so caught up in the negative comments and all that other stuff because I mean, a lot of these people are just keyboard warriors. You know, they're not. None of them are tough. None of them are scary. They just say stuff because they're miserable. That's just all it is. You know what I mean? They don't have anything going on with their life, and they just like to just try to put that energy into a space where they can offend other people. You know, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yes, I feel like I know why. You know the phrase like it's not a new phrase, but it's definitely a true phrase. Like comparison is comparison is the thief of joy. And I realized I'm like, oh shit. One, I know comparison is the thief of joy from my own personal experience, right? Anytime that I've been in my life growing up and comparing myself to anybody else, what somebody else has, what somebody else does, boom, boom, it's gonna rob me of my joy instantly.
It sure does. He is completely right about that, man. Never compare yourself to others. Never do that because at the end of the day, man, like everybody has their own purpose here. Everybody has their own purpose here. Everybody has things that they're meant to do and meant to see. I mean, everybody's life is different, man. Don't compare yourself. Like that person is supposed to be in that position. They're supposed to have those things. You're supposed to have what you have. You know what I mean? Be appreciative of the fact that you're even getting up and breathing. You feel me? Like and living. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like I get that.
So like I knew that phrase for that. But I realized the internet is like, it's all comparisons, like in the rap space.
Mhm.
I can only imagine like in some of these other space, basketball too, right? In the sports space, it's all, I'm gonna put this person versus this person, and we're gonna say which of these people is better. And like, it's not just the thief of like that person's joy that you might be talking about. It's actually the thief of everyone's joy because now I have to pick this person. I have to choose. I have to instantly get like analyze flaws or like or defend the person that I'm going, and it's gonna rob me of the joy of who that person really might be.
Yep.
Perfect example, like Michael Jordan, LeBron James is a very simple analogy, but it's like, yo, if I'm a astute Michael Jordan fanatic, you know what I mean? I'm and I feel the need to defend his greatness, which so many people in the sports world, sports is very similar to music, like in terms of like the toxic nature of like the space online or the discourse or whatever. But I feel the need, my identity is kind of glued to like, I'm a Michael Jordan fan. The instant that I feel the need to like defend his value or his greatness against LeBron James, the only way I can do that is I have to tear LeBron James down in some way. I gotta strike at one of his flaws, boom, boom. And what it does is mentally, like off rip, I'm being robbed of the joy of experiencing watching somebody that's great play basketball because I have to defend this thing. And music is the same way. It's like, yo, I'm going to compare this artist versus this artist. No, worse, I'm going to compare this album from this artist versus this album from the same artist. What if I just love both of these fucking albums? Now you're forcing me just by the nature of the prompt that you're giving me. You just slipped it inside my head. Now you're not forcing me, of course, but it's a slippery like way for me to go, damn, which of these Schoolboy Q albums is better?
Yeah, exactly. And it don't make any sense to me, man. I don't like to like compare albums, you know, or just compare artists. I mean, every artist is different. You know what I mean? You can't like comparing like Lil Wayne or Eminem or I don't know, T.I. or Jay-Z or like I'm just naming people, but they are all different type of artists. They have their own type of way of delivering words, delivering their messages. They have their own delivery. At the end of the day, man, like, can we just enjoy the music? Why does it have to be compared? It's an interesting argument, you know what I mean? But why does it have to be compared? You know, like J. Cole or Kendrick's first albums, like who knows? I mean, that the people when they come out, you know, they're hungrier. You know, like they're putting all their energy into the rhymes and trying to impress the people. Their second album, it might be a little bit calmer. You know what I mean? It might be a little bit better. It might to certain people. You just never know. So I mean, the comparison thing, man, is weird. And even when it comes to sports and stuff like that, I hate when people are comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron and Kobe and all them. It's like, dude, like, what are we doing here? These are different eras, different time frames, different people that they're. It's like this. You can't even really compare. It's sad. It's just ridiculous.
You know what I mean? And instantly I'm like, well, what if I just love both them bitches? I don't need to necessarily like compare. And I feel like the whole internet ecosystem, whether it be music, sports, or anything else, is driven. The content is driven and rewarded by pitting thing A versus thing B.
It's crazy that he's saying this because it's like this should. I mean, Nadeska should be. She should use this to lead into the question of Drake and Kendrick. If that's the case, I mean, he already speaking on it. You know what I mean?
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
It is. Sometimes it's exhausting working in it, right? It's you drop the fall off. What is it? 24 tracks, an hour and 40 minutes, and by Monday, I should have some thoughts on the album, and I'm like, damn, this is stressful. Like we've been waiting a long time for this album. It's a lot of music. Like I need time to digest it, but this system is entrenched. It's like how do you even separate yourself from it? You know, which is why I've been amazed watching your career over the past few years, right? So I'm thinking about things in terms of the lens of like, how do you know when to, here's an example, when you were doing Power Trip, right? So you recorded a version of the hook that you loved. You felt really attached to that in the moment that you created it, but eventually your team convinced you like, this would be dope with Miguel on it, and it turned out to be a great song, right? Mm-hmm. But then there are moments where like the BET Awards outfit that you hated, I went back to like, Google it. It's jokes, that outfit. It was terrible.
But that's terrible. I gotta see this outfit.